Behind me, we have the internet's infamous Mini Jeep, and right here we have 2 turbos. So you know what that means? Twin turbo Mini Jeep. We're gonna take this chassis and we're gonna upgrade the engine, upgrade the suspension, more than likely do an engine swap. We're gonna find the limits of every part of this chassis, fix it, replace it, and make it better. Because I noticed in the last few Mini Jeep builds, people were upset that people didn't use these chassis. So let's see what this chassis is capable of. But for now, let's go out, see what this thing can do stock. So let's go have some fun with this thing. 1, 2, 3. We're just out here to see what the hype's all about Tractor Supply Mini Jeeps. You've probably seen one of these before. If you have not, Tractor Supply, $21.99 on sale. They're almost always on sale. It's like the cheapest thing you can buy right next to a go-kart, and they're kind of amazing. So we're out here to see how amazing they really are. It's brand new, not even broke in. It beeps a little bit because we got it wet. Don't mind that.
Throttle's stuck.
We lost the throttle cable already?
Mini Jeep can't do jumps.
Mini Jeep isn't the best jump. I sent the other one like hard. We like bent the throttle cable. Okay, try. Oh yeah, it impacted that hard. All right, turn it on. Good, Mini Jeep can jump. All right, one more, huh?
Can do no jump.
It feels the same to me.
No, I broke the bracket. That's cool. I'll make a better one. We're here for improvements. Like, look at this. This is not how it was. It's this side of the bracket.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yep.
Is it bent? Broken?
It's broken.
Off of the weld?
Yep. Broken off the weld.
Where the heck did this come from? We're losing bolts. All right, well now everyone else should enjoy it for a while and test it before I break it.
Hey, you're three-wheeling.
Yeah. Woohoo! Flexing.
We brought a go-kart here to test the Mini Jeep in a go-kart, and the go-kart's already broken. So we're gonna take the Mini Jeep and see if we can rescue the go-kart.
Chain popped off. We found a weak link.
Well, we brought a tow strap, just in case.
Perfect.
I broke it. Well, I mean, she broke it.
Thank you.
You broke it. What'd you do?
I don't know. It's just driving along and then it stopped.
She had a bump
Chain popped off.
Yeah.
We got a recovery over here. Watch out, people.
Come all the way. All right, so your job, not to smash into him. Your job, try and make her smash into you.
Copy.
Got it. The go-kart's dead to us.
Well,
Ah.
Well, Who'd have thought that a free Facebook Marketplace go-kart would be one of the least reliable units you could bring out here. Now let's test the Jeep. Mini Jeep testing. 1, 2, 3, get out of the way. Yay! That helped fix it for sure. Problem here, folks. Something is either severely bent, so either our inner tie rod rack and pinion situation is bent, broken, or something. So we're out here planning a course. We've honestly been relatively mellow to what I've seen these things go through, and we were having a serious rack and pinion failure. I'm not sure what to do about this, but right now this tire is straight.
Well, let me see it.
And this tire, well, yeah, it's broken. Oh. Well, testing went good, but as you saw there, we kind of have broken suspension parts now. Jumped it. I had a really good time, but yeah, overall, the Jeep's sick. We all had so much fun, like so much fun. Like, who had fun? Yeah, so everyone had fun. It was a good time, but the time has come. It is now. Let's rip right into this thing and turbocharge it. So where are those turbos?
I think we need to fix it first.
Oh, yeah, right. We need to get our baseline like 0 to 60. I bent the tie rod. Let me put it on the lift. We'll get her fixed up. I think we have a tie rod on another machine. This wheel's like turned right. Ugh, some cereal. This is heavy. I don't know if it's gonna lift it. Oh my God. It almost fell off. Hang on. Shake test. That kind of came close. Here. Better. We might hit the bar. Oh wow. That's as far up as they go, huh? Well, overall, things are in good condition down here, minus our very bent tie rod. They're both bent. Yeah, so this one's bent, and this one's very bent. We have the really bent tie rod here. That's supposed to be straight. So we're gonna see if we can maybe clamp this somehow and bend it back. Yeah, I was afraid of that. That looks a lot straighter than before. I'm just gonna weld it there. I'm gonna put a big old fat MIG weld there. It's gonna be the best ever. That was the jam nut, so it's no longer adjustable, but I think it's super strong. The joint seems to work still. Sick. All right, now let's straighten the other side out. That looks pretty straight to me. I think I'm gonna weld it just cause. So I'm pretty sure we bent the spindle a little bit too. Without dropping this on my head, I'm trying to bend the spindle back just a little bit. So I think we got the spindle bent back pretty straight, and we have the tie rod fixed and straightened. So now I believe we should be good to go. So we're probably gonna work on it right about here because we are going to be kind of under the front grille. Well, my friend Kristen, AKA Badass Brunette on Instagram, if you want to check out her cool Tacoma, is trying to peel all this off. But
I got it.
thank you, Kristen. This is where the carburetor is. The muffler's under here, so the exhaust is underneath. We're gonna be using the exhaust to spin up the turbochargers wherever they are. The idea with the twin turbo setup, well, there really is no idea other than it's gonna be super cool. But one turbo is gonna spin up the other turbo to make the second turbo push extra air, and it's gonna be ridiculous. Essentially, the exhaust comes out, spins up this turbo, and then in here, out there. Spins up this pushes compressed air, which it sucks in here, into the engine. In this case, we're gonna be taking this compressed air and using it to spin. I don't even know what we're doing actually. How am I gonna be doing this? Am I gonna be just spinning up this turbo with this turbo and then seeing if that works? Does that work? I just thought about this. I ordered the turbos, bought the mini Jeep to twin turbo it, and I didn't think about how I was going to twin turbo it. So we're going to explain roughly, I had to actually draw this out for myself to understand it, how this is gonna work. Twin turboing, single cylinder mini Jeep. This is our engine. Red is going to represent the exhaust gas going to the turbo, okay? Blue is going to represent the intake coming into the engine. So this is intake, this is exhaust. Now, there are two parts of a turbocharger. The two parts of a turbocharger are the intake, or the compressor housing and the exhaust housing. I think that's what they're called. The exhaust housing, the exhaust gases go in here, spin this up. It spins the compressor wheel even faster. It pulls fresh air from the outside and pushes it compressed into your engine normally. Now when we have twin turbos, we are going to use these in a little bit of a different way. So the hot air goes in, spins up the, hot side of the turbo, and then goes out. So the exhaust from the engine is gone. Now we have cold air coming in, and that is compressed going over to the intake, which would normally be the exhaust. So now instead of just normal exhaust pressure, we have boost, ideally, coming from this, feeding the second turbocharger. So the second turbocharger, the boost, will go through the exhaust housing. So this is hot air normally going out, and this is the exhaust of the fresh air. So this air never actually makes it into the engine. Pretty crazy. Now the inlet, which is cold air over here, this is where the carburetor will be. So that carburetor will be mixing fuel with the air, getting spun up super fast because it's taking compressed air that got boosted, and now this is spinning just at Mach 10, and now we're getting big boost into our little mini Jeep. So it makes sense to me now. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Now you need to cut all of the flanges for this turbo, that turbo, and the engine so we can make a bunch of piping, and we need to see if this thing will make boost. What a game changer to have in the shop. Gotta go fishing for these little guys. She's so cute, little turbo flange. So we now have spent a few hours in CAD and we have all of our flanges cut out, ready to go. So in the meantime, we are going to go ahead and just start mocking these up. We need to take the front of this Jeep apart, pull this off so that we have something to work with. Without further ado, let's finally dig into the epic twin turbo mini Jeep build. All right, we have the front grill of our mini Jeep. So I'll just run pipe over, up to this turbo here. So that's how this one will be. And then we'll mount this here. The boost from there will come over here, spin this up. This will bring in fresh air from the carburetor and push boost straight into the engine. If we didn't want to move the carburetor, we could encapsulate in a box, but there's really not enough room with the fuel tank and everything. And that sucked. I've done that before. It's not fun. So I think this is going to be the move. So unbolt the carb, get to work. And that is the carburetor. First things first is get the exhaust ran to the first turbo. I only have straight tubing and I do not yet have a tubing bender for these small tubes. So we may have to pie cut everything again, which means you just take each one of these, cut them to about a 15 degree, you weld them together, and then you get yourself a bend. Now that the carburetor's off, we'll take the exhaust system off so we can build this turbo kit. We have our exhaust, which we can cut up and turn into a sick turbo manifold. Yeehaw. So we'll whop it. Let's go cut it with the bandsaw. Wow, I bet it has more power now that it's just straight piped. So now, essentially, this goes in there. We'll add piping to go here. If we wanted to be sneaky with it, we'd put a turbo down there, but we want to look cool, so we're going to put the turbo here. We're going to put a turbo here, put a turbo here, carburetor there, boost into there. Now, you guys might be wondering how the heck or why the heck we would buy a brand new Mini Jeep to cut it up, smack some turbos on, and launch it through the desert. Well, we got it at a discount because not only was this broken, the shifter knob was missing, there's a big old dent in the front bumper, amongst other things, but it doesn't matter because today's episode is sponsored by Bambu Lab. Now, Bambu Lab gives you the creative ability to make anything you want with their 3D printers. They have 3D printers all the way at the super base entry level, all the way up to the X1 Carbon, which we use over there to prototype and print parts all day, every day. This one in particular is a replacement for our busted steering wheel center, and it's customized, Elevated Fabworks. Look how sick that is. We printed a carbon fiber shifter because, well, this is a race Jeep that has turbos, and we were missing our shifter. So now we can shift. That's pretty sick if you ask me. And no Jeep is complete without your Jeep duck friend. This little buddy is going on the dash, go cruising with us all the time. So obviously the opportunities are almost endless with the 3D printer. Bambu Lab was gracious enough to send us their X1 Carbon. We've been printing carbon fiber, ABS, PLA. It prints basically any filament that is available on the market today, and it has been such a game changer around the shop. We even made turbo badges for our little turbo Jeep. Look at that thing, it's Turbo Snail. From the ducts to the steering wheel covers to the cup holders, well, maybe that cup holder didn't work, but the glory is we printed everything and we have the ability to print even more. So we knew that cup holder wasn't gonna work once we pulled it out of the printer. So we started an all new print. What we have going on in here is, well, 10.5 hours longer of a print until we have the sickest cup holders that have bottoms in them this time. Apparently we overlooked that last time. Now all of these have been available, all of the prints that we've done so far have been available on the Bambu Handy app. They have their own app, they have their own iOS and Android app, and we also printed all of this, which is called Gridfinity. Now Gridfinity is a new, I don't know if it's new to me, it's a storage utilitarian system. This is a socket holder that is made out of Gridfinity, and it keys into these, and it took this little socket holder, which takes up just about 8 spaces, and condensed it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's not counting how this is not optimized at all. Again, this is just one of the free prints that we got off of their app. Like I said, this Gridfinity system, I am gonna start adapting it to my toolbox because as you can see, my toolbox is absolutely destroyed all the time. So I want a full grid system in here. Just imagine it all pretty. And then fully custom socket holders for every single socket I have. Keep the wrenches up here, sockets down here. I can have so much more usable space down here and be so much more organized. So with all that being said, I cannot thank Bambu Lab enough for sponsoring today's video. Go ahead to the affiliate link in the pinned comment below. They have printers starting at like $300 some odd all the way up to about $1,200 for their Carbon A1C. So thank you again, Bambu Lab, for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the video and turbo this thing. Now we have this prepped and we can really start the fun work of building the turbo kit. Let's get this bolted back on and we can start adding on to it. So what we're gonna do right now is cut a bunch of what I call pie cuts. They're just pieces cut to about 15 to 18 degrees. And when you weld 4 or 5 of these together, you can get a 90, a 120, or a 180 degree bend. And it's generally a tighter bend than you could get with a tubing bender. I don't have a tubing bender for this size, so we're just gonna cut them and weld them together. We do have something cool on the way that will do this for us, but for now, we're gonna cut and weld some stuff. So we're just gonna make, I don't know, probably 20 pie cuts right now, and we'll just get them all cleaned up all at the same time out of 1-inch tube. That one's broke. So, taking each one of these, and we just getting all the sharp corners and imperfections out from inside the tube after cutting them. So we'll do that to every single one of these. Now that we have the insides to where they won't cut me, I can put my finger in them and we can clean the outside corners and edges. So this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. No sharp corners anywhere, outside or inside. And when you have a few of them together, 3 of these together is already basically a 90. So you can get really tight radiuses in a very short span. Get all those prepped up and ready to go. So we now have some exhaust pipe. This is just 1-inch 1/8 wall tubing. It's very thick. So it's 3/4 inside diameter, which is plenty for what we're doing here. We're going to weld this on here, kinda. And then we're gonna make a bend out of pie cuts somewhere in there. We're gonna come up out of here, and then our turbo will be somewhere in this vicinity. Probably like right there-ish. That's where the first turbo will go. We'll get the first turbo mounted and we'll start plumbing from that turbo to the other turbo. It's actually insane how a couple tools can just completely change your fabrication game. From the torch, CK Worldwide, to the cups, Furic, the plasma table and that grinder. Basically everything you need to be the baddest fabricator ever, and it's all under like 7 or 8 grand. Do yourself a favor, quit putting it off, buy the right tools. I'm so stoked that I'm here in my shop doing what I love. I just wanted to say, you know, shout out to you guys, Langmuir, Ameribraid, CK Worldwide. Wouldn't be possible without you guys. So what we need to do now that we have our first little piece in is start working our way towards pointing up, because that is, well, the way this tube will want to take it. So our goal is to get to right around that area, and it looks like we're gonna have no problem doing it. We might actually have to run it out a little longer than I initially thought. So we'll just start welding these pieces together, make this meet up with that, using a bunch of these. And yeah, this is gonna turn out pretty sick. I love doing little pie cuts. Oh, we're getting close. You gotta hear it run. You actually don't need a carburetor. You just need some brake clean. Woo. It's so obnoxious. All right, so this is the moment of truth. We're welding a flange up here that definitely won't fit down through there, so we need to be able to pull this up through there. So let's see if we're already screwed. Can we even get it out of the engine? We may already be screwed. I may have to redesign this. Let's see. This is not looking promising. Looking like it may be a weld in place situation. I'm not sure that this is possible, folks. We're really pushing the limits of what is and is not possible. But with the right amount of finagling, I do believe that we can get this stupid thing out. So we'll weld it out and put it back in, and hopefully it goes to the same spot. We'll find out. All right, so we have our massive exhaust pipe turbo flange thingamajig. Let's see if we can get it back in there. Goes. Now that it's welded together, I can be a lot less gentle with it. There we go. Well, it's about as far away from the gas tank as we can get. So let's start messing with the turbo, seeing where we want this thing. So essentially, it's gonna be kind of right there. So I guess first thing we can do is just chop that down with a grinder. Bolted the flange on. Look at that thing. I think that's her. I'm gonna weld it. Does it look dope? We now have the flanges on this, and that's the turbo outlet, so this should be boost. And this is where exhaust is normally coming in. Now, I know this isn't normally how you twin turbo a vehicle. Usually you would take the exhaust that's coming out of here, go into this, and then this boost and this boost would merge and go into there. We're not doing it that way. We're trying to see higher boost numbers, not more volume. We're not running out of volume, we just need more boost. I don't even know if this is gonna work. We're just having fun, twin turboing this Jeep, seeing how fast we can make this thing. So, all that being said, we have our flange, we have that. This is about where I want it to be. So, we'll get a piece of tubing, roughly 19.5. We'll go 20 inches. We'll see if that puts us roughly where we want to be with our twin turbo setup. It looks so doofy. This is it. Nothing. Give me the welder. Oh. This is not as easy as one would think, okay? Twin turboing a frickin' mini Jeep is a lot of work. So in theory, now when it runs, both of the turbos should spin. So now tell me if this turbo spins. Cool, so we have twin turbos. All right guys, do not forget Matt's Off-Road Games. It's March 20th to the 22nd. We'll be there. We'll have sweatshirts, we'll have hoodies, we'll have hats, we'll have shirts, and it's all available on the website, efwmerch.com. See you guys at Matt's Off-Road Games. So after much thinking, debating, and thinking, and debating, and debating, and thinking, I have come up with a solution. This isn't how any of this is supposed to work, but we're gonna make it work that way. So, this is the boost that's gonna go to the engine. We're gonna route this, first thing, we're gonna go from here into the engine, all right? Now, we need to make sure there's fuel in with that boost, or, well, the engine won't run. So the carburetor needs to be below the fuel tank, so we're gonna leave the carburetor down here, make a plate that the carburetor bolts to that goes over, up, around, and over to the intake to this turbo. So to say it goes around town would be an understatement. I don't even know if the fuel's gonna make it up there. It should, in theory. Once it gets running, we may need some starting fluid to make it happen. Once that happens, in theory, this should run and make boost, kinda. It should be a good time. Turbocharging single cylinder engines is always kind of a pain, and I made it even more of a pain on myself by twin turboing it, but hey, let's see what happens. Now we get this bolted on here, and we have all the flanges we need. Oh, minus this one. All right, one more flange, get them all bolted on, and then it's just gonna be the craziest compilation of pie cut city you've ever seen. This is gonna be the most complicated turbo kit for a single cylinder engine, I think, to date in history, but we're gonna make it happen. Bolt that there, and now we can weld a bunch of pipe to it and feed turbos. Hopefully it works. We finished this insanely trick charge pipe. Hopefully we get some boost out of it. Now we need to run another set of these crazy pie cuts here, down, all the way down to this carburetor, down here. So it's gonna be a very intricate set of pie cuts and welds. A ton of cutting and a ton of welding. So I'm gonna go cut probably 25 more of these and then time lapse another sick little it's plan. Look at that, that looks sick. Look at this. Got a freaking charge pipe. Oh, I think I did it. I mostly finished welding this thing. But this one goes here, fits in pretty nice. The other one, it goes right here, over and around. So it goes down, in, over, around, like that. It's hot, so I'll let that cool down. So we just need to finish getting this connected to that. It's about what we need to do. A few more pie cuts and we are there. Dude, this thing looks crazy. There's pie cuts everywhere. There's freaking turbos everywhere. This is really cool. All right, let's see if this thing runs. We have the gas hooked up to the carburetor. We have the carburetor hooked up to the intake. We have everything supposedly where it goes. So, we need to get all of this fully welded in, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll have enough suction to get the air fuel mix through this giant loop-de-loop up here. If not, we'll have to figure out how to give supplemental fuel in here. Maybe weld a little bung in that we can just have a squirt thing full of gas and just, it'll be our little cold start injector. Yeah, this is ridiculous and I love it. But it runs, and I'm gonna finish welding it out, and I'm gonna mend my really sad burns. We now have everything fully welded out. Our charge, this is our intake from the carburetor to the turbo. Charge pipe, our other pipe from the one turbo to the other turbo, our up pipe, which is doubling, is a hood stack right now. We took everything off, put the carburetor back where it belongs, because we're gonna go run some baseline tests and see how fast or slow this thing is without the turbo system. Then we'll come in here, put the turbo system together. So, let's get this thing off the lift. I like the new little hood stack. I think it's cool. Hopefully it shoots flames. And we'll go take it outside, draw a couple lines in the road, see how fast it does uphill and downhill, see what we can come up with as a baseline before the turbo.
All right, so we're gonna do a time trial downhill first. He's over there at the sign, and this line is where he's going to stop. So we'll see how fast he can go downhill, and then we're gonna do it in reverse uphill, and then put the turbos on and see what happens. You ready? Go! Eight seconds, 11 milliseconds, 8.11.
Okay, let's go uphill now.
Uphill. Set, go!
We're really gonna have to upgrade these
Steering?
steering situation. It's cooked.
Yeah, 9.13
So
going
lost
uphill.
a second. Let's see what twin turbos can do for our times. All right, now let's see what twin turbos does. I bet it's gonna add all the horsepower. And if not, maybe we'll just go down to one turbo or something. I don't know. But I think twin turbos is definitely gonna increase our times. We gotta fill these turbos up with oil. So this is not how you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to have an oil feed and an oil drain and blah, 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 blah. But around here, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
We just like to willy-nilly things.
Willy-nilly. This is past willy-nilly. Oh, okay, it's full.
Look at you making a mess.
Shh. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You worry about what you're doing. Oh. So I made these plates that were supposed to be oil feed plates, but now they're just oil block-off plates to keep the oil in the turbo. Hopefully the oil stays in the turbo. Put all the gaskets in, do the same thing, fill the other one up, put it all back together, and take it for another rip. I looked online, and surprisingly enough, no one tries to run a closed oiling system on the turbo. Imagine that. Let's get this here. I have to tighten that one with a wrench. Oh, I'm gonna break my mini Jeep. And last but not least, let's get this carburetor sealed up there. Look at my creation. It's got 2 turbos and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 23, 24, 25, 41, 42, 43 pie cuts. 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49 pie cuts. This is like 50, 60 pieces of steel put together to make this silly little turbo kit. Put that in perspective. 60 pieces of steel, cut, prepared, and welded to turbocharge a mini Jeep. All right, let's see if it even runs at all. It's slower.
Well, I think we need to do a time trial.
Okay.
We'll do downhill.
Downhill?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out where it might be losing all its power.
Ready? Go! Yeah, 10.58.
We made it that much slower? No! Is there any oil coming out of that turbo?
No, I don't see.
So there's only oil coming out of this turbo, which leads me to believe this turbo seal is already blown out the gate. So we're working with faulty equipment here. While the twin turbo setup didn't work like I was hoping, or probably like anyone thought it would, because it probably was never designed to do this, my mission for today is to make this faster than it is in its stock form, which means we are gonna turbo this thing. So we're gonna just take out this turbo, run a single turbo, and make this happen, because by golly, I will not stand until I have the fastest stock engine mini Jeep known to mankind for the time being. So let's go ahead and get this thing single turbo. I want my redemption run. Look at this absolute contraption that we have made here. We have deleted the turbo and just went exhaust up to where the exhaust is supposed to go. It's gonna spool up the turbo. Out goes the old burnt gas. It'll spool this up, pull air from the carburetor up, over and around through this compressed air, boost. So if this doesn't work, I don't think anything will. It's gotta be faster now. We're down to 1 turbo. We played this game. All fires right up. Not promising, but we're gonna find out. All right, yeah, the turbo's not like, we might already have a sad turbo. Maybe we should oil it. Get out of here so we can do a time trial. All right, we're gonna go uphill.
All right. Ready, set, go! I was kind of delayed on the time.
I can tell that was slower.
I was even delayed on my time, like pressing the button. So you should have extra time. It was still slow. 11:45.
That's where that sorrow music plays over me being sad. I wonder if it needs back pressure, because it doesn't have any back pressure right now.
Are you talking about the exhaust?
Yeah, it also doesn't have anywhere to really build boost. That's always been a notoriously issue thing for these. Man. Dang it.
You just made it worse.
I made it so much worse. I think a boost chamber would help a ton. Single cylinders are notorious for needing a boost chamber. I thought the twin turbos would help with the boost chamber, and then we deleted one turbo. We don't have a boost chamber, so that's an issue. So I think adding a boost chamber would help a lot. And possibly, I hate to say this, single cylinder turbos kind of blow. At least a boost chamber. I don't know if I want to keep messing with this engine. I know it's not going to do what I want it to do, but I know it's faster than this, and that's what bums me out, man. So close. That seals the deal. You need a boost chamber when you are turbocharging single cylinder engines. I think that's all we're going to do for today, folks. So, if you wanted to see a successful twin turbo mini Jeep, sorry, didn't give that to you. If you wanted to see a successful single turbo mini Jeep, well, I also didn't give you that. But I have huge things in store for this mini Jeep. This is just a fun little video. I actually have done this before. I did it a completely different way, so I wanted to try a different way and just see what happened. So what it's all about, having fun, trying things, doing new things, and I learned a lot about what not to do. So I would call that a success. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, click the subscribe button. It's right down there. Like button too. Maybe buy some merch, a shirt, a hat. Helps much. Anyway, I'm gonna drive my mini Jeep into the sunset.